Hello! We are on 8.9, which is solving problems involving volume. So, yeah, we're kind of skipping around a lot in this chapter, but we were going to do circles today, which I know is what's on the agenda right now on the board, but I didn't want to teach you guys that over a video. So we'll do that when I get back, probably sometime next week, but... So today we're just doing 8.9, which is volume. So this should be pretty familiar from last year. Volume is the amount of space occupied by any three-dimensional solid. So volume is the amount of space occupied by a three-dimensional solid. Okay, so if you can see this box, the volume is going to be the amount of space occupied by it, okay? So we're going to try and figure out how much we can fit inside of it. So our formula for volume of prisms, remember, so we're not dealing with pyramids, we're dealing with prisms. So think of boxes, okay? And like all of these are prisms, okay? Remember, pyramids come to a point at the top. That's not what we're dealing with. We're just dealing with prisms. So our formula for volume of prisms is V equals capital B times lowercase h. Okay. So this is not the same as base times height. When we do that, base times height, base is a lowercase b. Well, this is an uppercase B, so it's different. So the uppercase B means area of base. So if you think about it, when you think of volume that you've learned before, it's length times width times height. Well, if we're trying to find the area, the volume of this box, okay, length times width, that's 12 times 18, which is also the area of the base. Okay? So you're basically finding the area of the base, and then you're multiplying it by its height, which goes up. Okay, so length times width times height, that's the same thing right now as capital B times H. Okay, we're just finding the area of our base first, and then we're multiplying it by its height. So it's the same thing you've been doing, it's just we're wording it a little differently. So in this first example, it says volunteers at a food pantry pack boxes of soup into crates. How many boxes of soup will fill each crate? So first thing we need to figure out is what the volume is of the box, and then we need to figure out how much space the boxes of soup take up, and we need to find the volume of that. Okay, so first thing we gotta do, find the volume of our box. So I'm gonna divide this into two. So box and soup. So for both of these, we got to find the area of our base. So for the box, that's 12 times 18. So I'm going to do 12 times 18, and then we multiply it by our height, which is 12. So go ahead, put that in your calculator. So 12 times 18 times 12 is 2,592. And that would be inches cubed. So that's how much space the box can hold. Now we figure out the volume of the soup, the boxes of soup. Okay. So you can see the base of our soup is 4 and 2. So we're going to do 4 times 2, and then we multiply it by 6, because that's our height. So with rectangular prisms like these, it's really easy. All you're doing is multiplying all three numbers. That's all you do with these. So 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 6 is 48, and that would also be inches cubed. So we want to know how many of the boxes of soup can fit into the box. So we have to divide the volume of the box divided by the volume of the soup. So that's 2,592 divided by 48. And you should get 54. So that means that box can hold 54 boxes of soup. Now, your homework isn't going to have word problems like these. It's just going to ask you to find the volume. So, on this example, we need to find the volume of it. Yes, it's still a prism. It's not a pyramid. It's a prism. And it tells us the base of the prism is a trapezoid. Well, for our formula for... Oops, that's not a lowercase b. It needs to be uppercase. To find the volume of this, first we have to find the area of the base. So that means we need to find the area of this trapezoid right here. If you remember correctly, to find the area of a trapezoid, it is A equals, base 1 plus base 2 times your height divided by 2, or times half, however you want to think about it. Okay. So let's plug these numbers in first. So this, finding the area of the base, that's the B. Okay. And then once we find the area of that, we're going to times it by our height, which is 5. So first thing I got to do is add my two bases together. So I can see up here that my first one is 3 and my next one is 6. So I got to do 3 plus 6. Okay. Now it's asking for the height of our trapezoid, not the height of the entire prism. So the height of my trapezoid would be right here. That's 2. Okay, because that would also be right here. And remember, our base or our height connects the two bases together. So we would have times 2, and we divide by 2. And then we can find the area of our base. So I can tell right away that these 2's can cancel out. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So those are gone, and all I have is 3 plus 6, which is 9. So that means the area of the base is 9. So when I come over here, I would have 9 times our height, which is 5. We would get 45 feet cubed as our final answer. So you're just finding the area of the base and then multiplying it by the height. So in this example, this one's going to be a little easier because the base is a triangle, not a trapezoid. So we use the same formula, V equals capital B times H. Okay. So I want to point out, on prisms, the bases are always the exact same. So I know right here, this rectangle cannot be the base because there's not one that looks exactly like it. There's only one of it. Okay. Plus, it says triangular prism, and that means the bases are triangles. So my bases are those two triangles. Okay. Those are our bases, and then the line that connects them is the height. So I know right away my height is 14. Okay. So I need to find the area of my base, and that's going to be A equals base times height divided by 2. That's our formula for the area of a triangle. So remember, our base and our height should make that right angle right there. So my base of my triangle is 8. My height of my triangle is 6. And then I divide by 2. So 8 times 6 is 48. And then we divide by 2. We would get 24. So the area of this base is 24. So I'm going to put that over here. And then I multiply it by my height, which is 14. Go ahead and put that into your calculator. And you get 336 centimeters cubed. Alright, go ahead and flip your page over, and we're going to do probably 2 more. So these are the same thing, except now they're composite figures, which means there's more than one shape that we have to find, and then we add them together. So you've dealt with composite figures with dealing with area, but not so much volume. Okay. This is going to be new. So first thing I do is I have to figure out what shapes I have. Okay. So I have a cube, that's the green one. And then I have a triangular prism on the top. And I know that because I can see the 2 triangles. There's one triangle, one triangle. So those are my bases. So for my cube, remember it's easy for cubes because all you have to do is multiply all 3 numbers. So because it's 18 times 18 times 18. So that one's an easy one. So when you put that in your calculator, you should get 5,832 feet cubed. So then for your triangular prism, I need to find the area of the triangle first. Okay. So it's still going to be V equals capital B times H. Remember, I got to find the area of the base first, and that's going to be base times height divided by 2. So my base of my triangle, so I got to figure out what this is. Because I know my height of the triangle is 10, but my base, hopefully you notice that it's a cube, so that line should be 18. So it's going to be 18 times 10 divided by 2. Remember, you can divide by 2 whenever you want. So I'm going to do 18 divided by 2, which is 9. So I get 9 times 10, which is 90. So the area of my triangle is 90. So I'm going to have 90, and then I have to find my height. Remember, the height connects one base to the other, so that'll be right here, which is also 18, since this one's 18. So we get 90 times 18, which is 1,620. And then I add up both of my numbers to get my final answer, to figure out how much they are all together. So 5,832 plus 1,620. And we would get 7,452 feet cubed as the total volume. So the questions on the homework won't be composite figures, but this is giving you good practice for the future. So on this one, we do the same thing. No matter how we divide it up, they are going to be 2 rectangular prisms. Okay? Remember, with rectangular prisms, you just multiply all 3 numbers. Okay? But we're going to have to divide it up a little bit. So let's divide it. You can decide. You can either divide it right there and have this one and then this one, or you can divide it right there and have this one and this one. So it's up to you how you want to do it. I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to start with the one on the left. Okay. I need to find my three numbers. So my first one is 10, and then I have to figure out what this is right there. Well, that should be the same as this and that, which is also the same as that one. So that means it should be 10. So that is 10. So for my rectangular prism number 1, we're going to multiply 10 times 10 times 30. Because I have my length times width times height, also known as the area of your base, and then your height. So 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 30 is 3,000. So we get 3,000 inches cubed. And then we move on to our second one. So the good news is that I know my base right away, right? I have the 10 and the 12, so I just have to multiply those to get the area of my base. So then I have to find my height. My height is going to be this line right here. But it's not 40, because 40 goes all the way. And we want ours to stop right here. So I need to figure out what this part is. So that part, if you look up, would be 10. So to figure out what this part is, I have to do 40 minus 10, and I would get 30. So on this one, like I said, you're going to do 10 times 12 to find the area of your base, and then now you're going to multiply by 30, because that's your height. So 10 times 12 is 120, and then 120 times 30 would be